everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. Welcome to my channel. It's my daily vlog, so whatever I happen to be up to is what you're gonna see here. And today, I'm feeling a little out of sorts. Like I don't think I'm sick, but like I don't feel good. I've been a bit amiss this afternoon. I was originally had grand plans to go out and about, and I wasn't feeling up to it. And I figure it's been a long time since I did like a Let's Chat video, and there's some stuff that happened this week that is really, I mean, obviously sad, but in some ways shakes fandom a little bit. You know, it's sort of like a double whammy for me because two different fandoms that I'm very much connected with are dealing with losses this week. But one of these losses, you know, it also gives a rare opportunity to say thank you. So the first thing I want to speak about is this past week, George Perez, who was an artist for comics for many years. And when I say many years, I'm not talking about like a decade. I'm not talking about 20 years. I think it's like 50 years or 55 years. Like amazingly pronounced career. And he is an artist that in many ways was formative of my childhood, right? Why Mercury? Why was he so formative of your childhood? Because as a child in the 80s, there were very few female leading characters. And the biggest one, and the strongest one, and the most humane one, it's Wonder Woman. It's Wonder Woman. And George Perez, a huge chunk of his career was dedicated to creating Wonder Woman. So George Perez is still here. This week, he announced that he has pancreatic cancer with a prognosis of 6 months to a year. So it's a very rare moment that I can pause and make sure that I say thank you. Thank you, Mr. Perez. You helped give me things to aspire to. You helped show me that the sky's the limit and that women can crack a glass ceiling and let it shatter to the ground. I wanted to share a couple of things. So we know, in the past couple years, the Wonder Woman 1984 movie came out, and it featured Cheetah. This is one of my original comics. This is from when I was a kid, and this is issue 28 from March of 1989. 9-year-old Mercury was reading this. It's amazing. That's amazing. It's amazing to look back and think about the people that were involved in creating something like this and the impact that it had. And I don't have words to express how much that means to me. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Perez. I was lucky enough to be able to meet George Perez at Wizard World Philadelphia probably about a decade ago. I bet what I'm about to show you is dated, so we'll be able to see. But I love going to comic book conventions. I love it for so many reasons. I do cosplay, but even before I started to cosplay, I started this book, this sketchbook. This is not my art. I started collecting the art of the artists I love. Drawn for me by George Perez in 2005. And he did this at his booth. He was doing commissions for charity, because that's the kind of person he is. And I have a cherished memory for it. So, George is still here with us. I wish him well. I wish that the next 6 months to a year are the most that he can make of it. And know how much he is appreciated and how much he has touched an entire generation. The other loss this week. We lost Anne Rice, who is hands down my favorite author. Without a doubt. Without a question, without a second thought. Interview with a Vampire, the movie, came out in 1994. And I had read Interview before the movie, so I've been reading Anne Rice since I was probably 12 or 13 years old. It's a lifetime, right? She was revolutionary. She did much like a Star Trek. And what I mean by that, she pulled a Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry, part of his genius was using science fiction to be able to talk about things that might have been taboo. Anne Rice used vampire lore, witches lore, genies and other supernatural, to be able to have conversations around adult themed topics of romance and sexuality in a way that without the lore would have still been taboo. To the point where she also wrote novels under other names, like Anne Rampling. Like, she had 3 names she wrote under. But when writing as Anne Rice, she used the lore to open pathways to dialogue and conversation and acceptance, but yet created a mythos so rich that you could just get swallowed by this world. It was so real and so detailed. And, in some ways that's, when I talk to people that are not huge Anne Rice fans, the criticism is her books take forever to get through. And they do, because of the world she's creating. The level of detail and immersion that she creates. I love it. I love it. Every year I set a goal for myself to try to read 10 novels. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. This year I am not tracking to complete that. I think I've read 5 this year. I'm very behind. But historically, I do set a goal to read 10. Sometimes I've hit 12, or even on the cusp of 15, I think was my best. But every single year, at least one of those novels is an Anne Rice novel. Every year. And I've been doing this for probably 5 or 6 years now, setting that goal for myself. And that's just to keep me in the habit of reading. I had a really hard time during 2020 and 2021 keeping my head in the books. Just the weight of the world and the state of what we were living in was very distracting and challenging for me. So that's part of why I've only read about 5 books this year. But one of them was Anne Rice. Much earlier in the year. I actually used one of her books to ground me back into reading and get my momentum back because I knew I would love it. Yeah, I've not picked up one I haven't liked. I don't think I have a favorite. I really don't. They're so unique. There is something uniquely wonderful about the witching hour. And that just might be my own personal struggle to read that book. It took me 3 tries to read that book. Not because of how it was written, but my own challenges with reading. I'm not a fast reader by any means. And that book is like 1,000 pages. I'm looking to see if I still have my copy or if it's fallen apart. So my copy of The Witching Hour has fallen apart because I attempted to read it multiple times, and then I actually read it through twice, and then I did read Lasher after that. I have all the vampire. I might be missing some of I have the original Vampire Chronicles. I have some of the modern ones, Vampire Armand, Pandora, the werewolf books that she wrote. Oh, those were good. Those were really good. If you want to read Anne Rice but not read vampires and you want something a little different. So Anne Rice would have this voicemail set up for her fans. And she changed the message all the time. I don't remember if it was like once a month or every few months. But it was like, it wasn't personalized because it wasn't for the individual, but like, it made her feel more accessible. It made it feel like you could just reach out to her. And that level of appreciation for her fans was like next level. And she will always be appreciated for that. So yeah, hard week for the fandoms I love. But I celebrate the genius. And I celebrate the joy as I cry. Because with the joy is the loss. Knowing I'm not going to have a new book to put on that bookshelf. But knowing that bookshelf is full. Conflicting emotions. Oh my gosh. So, today's not my typical vlog. It's not the typical adventures and the warm and fuzzies and the out and abouts, but it's real. And it's life. And with life is loss. But with loss is an appreciation of life. And so is the cycle. So with that, I guess I'm done for tonight. I'm sorry if this was very, very heavy and weighty compared to usual. It happens every now and again. But tomorrow I will be hopefully feeling better and, get to go out and about. Got some stuff coming up. Planning on going to the Macy's windows. Planning on checking out Bryant Park, Hudson Yards, and Brookfield Place. So those are your sneak peek for, you know, some stuff I'm trying to get in for the holiday season before it comes to a close. So we're rapidly approaching that. My gosh, where did time go? Okay, everybody, I'm wrapping it up. I'm sorry I was a bit long-winded and a bit tearful, but it's where I was. It's where I was. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. And until then, stay inspired by everyone. Take care.